USC's win over Michigan on Saturday was a big step forward for Lincoln Riley and the Trojans, while Michigan told us we need to tap the brakes a little bit on the Wolverines. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like, that helps us out too. Plus, you can hype YouTube videos these days as well. That would be appreciated. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. So, is USC now one of the top-tier teams in the Big Ten? Plus, Michigan, not there yet. We have Big Ten news, some coaching rumors at Michigan State and Wisconsin, and we'll have our Tuesday tweets all coming up. But I think we learned some things with USC's 31-13 win over Michigan on Saturday. First of all, Lincoln Riley and USC, they may actually be ready to take that next step to that top tier and make a legitimate run at being one of the Big Ten's 4 potential college football playoff teams. And Michigan, despite all the excitement of Bryce Underwood and some improvement each and every week, they're just not ready for prime time right now. Going into Saturday night's game, both Michigan and USC, they were stuck in that second tier that we like to talk about here on this podcast. You know, the tier of good Big Ten teams, but not quite good enough to make a run at a Big Ten title and maybe get into the playoffs. There's a few teams in that second group. And for Michigan, there was some quiet optimism that perhaps if things bounce the right way this year, if freshman quarterback Bryce Underwood would develop quickly for the Wolverines, with their defense in the running game, they might be formidable at the end of the season and maybe, just maybe, become a 4th Big Ten team to possibly make the college football playoffs. It was all there on the table. For Lincoln Riley, doing that much was almost a necessity to keep his job this year. Get in that tier, get into that playoff conversation. You know, as soon as USC joined the Big Ten in 2024, they immediately envisioned themselves mentioned in the same breath as the 2023 Wolverines or the 2024 Ohio State Buckeyes, maybe the 2025 Penn State Nittany Lions. Scratch that, right? I mean, things change quickly in college football. But, our point here, USC, it's a blue blood, it's a jersey, it's tradition. And it was only going to add to the Big Ten and fight for that upper tier when it came. And it got off to kind of a slower than expected start, at least from USC fans' perspective. And, they've been in that group of good, but not overwhelming group of schools in the Big Ten. And that's just not acceptable to Trojan fans and boosters. Since Caleb Williams won that Heisman Trophy, there's been a bit of a downgrade at USC football, of underachieving, if you will. It's not like the wheels have fallen off at USC. Don't get me wrong. It's not like, like what Penn State's going through right now. It's not like what Wisconsin is going through right now. It just wasn't good enough there at USC. And that's why this is a big year for Lincoln Riley. And that was a big win for him and his program on Saturday night against Michigan. The fact that they did it to Michigan, one of these teams that are kind of in the same group. And they did to Michigan what Michigan normally does to other people. They won at the line of scrimmage. They ran the ball. Their defense stifled Michigan's offense for most of the night. And, maybe Michigan's offense stifled itself, if you want to be honest about it. Look, Underwood's passing game, it's raw, but it's still limited. And during every game, he shows signs of brilliance with just a mere flick of the wrist, and that ball just sails and he puts it on somebody. Now, if his receivers could only hold on to the ball, they got a lot of drops. No certainty that they hang on to the football this year. Every once in a while, though, you see glimpses of awesomeness and why Bryce Underwood was the number 1 recruit in the country. In the meantime, Michigan likes to rely on its running game. It's their safety net. It's what they're good at. It's what they do. Always has been the case. But when Justice Haynes left the game against USC, had an injury to his side, the Wolverines, their playbook seemed to shrink a little bit. By the way, Haynes, they said, Sharon Moore said he could have returned. He said, but with their student athletes, they like to exercise caution. And if there was an injury, they weren't going to force him back into that game. He said that let's see how this week goes, but it's not going to be a long-term injury. So that's good news for Michigan fan. Look, I think Michigan's a good football team. I think they're a really good, solid football team with some holes. They're not perfect. And, they're no better or no worse. They show some improvement each and every week, although I think the game against USC on Saturday seemed like a little bit of a setback. I'm curious, though, to see how they bounce back this week. They get to take on Washington. It's at the Big House. It's in Ann Arbor. But the Huskies have a lot of weapons. And I think they're on that top of that second tier that we like to talk about. I think Washington's a really good football team. And in fact, I was a little surprised that Ohio State was able to shut them down as much as they did. But other than that, Washington's been a pretty good team that can put a lot of points on the scoreboard. And then after that, Michigan's got some winnable games coming up on the schedule. There's Michigan State. They seem to be stuck, even though that rivalry game is always kind of different. They've got Purdue coming up. They're struggling. They got Northwestern, which I would tell you would be an automatic win, but they just beat Penn State, so who knows? And then they close it out with a game at Maryland, which I think could be difficult, but also exciting, because I actually think Malik Washington, their freshman quarterback, is a little ahead of the curve of Bryce Underwood. I think these two are battling it out for freshman of the year. And right now I would give the edge to Malik Washington at Maryland instead of Underwood. So, and that's all before hosting the Ohio State game at the end of the season. So there's some opportunities coming up for some wins for Michigan at this point. But as far as the USC Trojans are concerned, I think that they proved for now that they belong in that top tier conversation of the Big Ten. Although, asterisk, I'm still a little bit concerned about their loss at Illinois. I mean, Illinois is a good team, but if we want to be in that upper tier and break away a little bit, probably a game they shouldn't have. I know they were down big. They came back to lead. Then they lost it at the end. I'm sure they would like that one back. But when you look at USC and where they've been, and you start with their quarterback, Jayden Maiava, he's completing 72% of his passes. He has 13 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. I'm a big touchdown to interception ratio guy. That's excellent. He's got exciting receivers, Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane. Where I am concerned a little bit, I mean, the Waymon Jordan injury, that's not good at running back. I guess they say he's expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks with this ankle injury that he suffered against Michigan. It's not good. It's not the end of the world. It's not great. But they are deep, it appears, at running back. We got a good look at their freshman walk-on King Miller, who may have already earned himself a scholarship after that performance against Michigan. He exudes the next man up mentality. On the defensive side of the ball, you see some improvements there. I like Bishop Fitzgerald. He's got had 2 interceptions against Michigan. He's got 5 on the year already. In fact, the team's got 8 interceptions with 2 pick sixes. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So now they have to prove where they are nationally. They got a big game Saturday at Notre Dame, the big rivalry game. That's the game, by the way, we're going to go live after. We're here every day with multiple podcasts, but we always go live so that I can get your immediate reaction and you get mine unfiltered, raw, right after these games. We always pick a game on the schedule. We go live after it on Saturdays. We've had a lot of fun and success with that. The USC Notre Dame game, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on NBC. When that game's over, around 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific, we're going to go live. So mark your calendars now and join us. I invite you to join us. Put that down. We'll be ready to go. And then for USC, it's off to Nebraska. They got that game. The Cornhuskers, of course, just cracked the top 25. They possibly could be dangerous. There's still Iowa and Oregon to deal with the USC Trojans. But for now, Lincoln Riley should be excited about where his Trojan football team is. What about you? Let's hear from you. Fight on. Let's go. Let's get the comments going. I want to talk about it. Are you satisfied or not as to where this program is right now? There are no wrong answers. Just like to hear from you in the comment section. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, that would be great. I know you're a Big Ten fan if you're checking us out here. that means you probably also know other Big Ten people that might not know we're out here every day. Hit that little share arrow and send this podcast their way. We would appreciate that as well. We also have a website, talkbig10.com, where all of our podcasts go for a second listen after this one. And also there are links for you to buy your favorite Big Ten team merchandise. You want a USC Trojans shirt or hat? You can get it right there, as a matter of fact, along with all the podcasts. So we got some more Big Ten news coming up. Some rumors about coaching situations in the Big Ten. We'll talk about those. Maybe Wisconsin, maybe Michigan State. Yeah, getting a little uncomfortable over there. It's not all just about James Franklin losing his gig. That's all coming up. Plus, we get our Tuesday tweets. It is all right around the corner here in 1 minute on Lockdown Big Ten. The holidays are going to be here before you know it. I mean, we're inside, 2.5 months of Christmas. So it's exciting. You got to get a lot of stuff, get it all organized, and you can get your home ready too with our friends at Wayfair. You got guests coming over, celebrations. You got to look good. And maybe your serveware needs a little sprucing up. Maybe that guest room needs some new bedding that's not so embarrassing. Wayfair has everything you need to get your home holiday ready, from Christmas trees to wreaths to bedding, cookware, and outdoor inflatables. It's your one-stop shop for every room in the house. Wayfair makes it easy to personalize your home for the holidays with a huge selection for every single style and budget. And with free and easy delivery, even the big stuff, you can get everything you need without the hassle of huge delivery fees around the holidays. Check it out. My wife and I shop there all the time. Get that perfect piece of furniture for the nook, the corner, stuff outside I love, for the back patio by the pool. Get organized and refreshed and ready for the holidays for way less. Head over to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. We're fans of sports. We like watching them. They're exciting. They can be more exciting. How? With FanDuel. I mean, we're in it with the NFL season here, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. You pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And their app is super easy to use. You can find your games, your schedules, your point spreads, your point totals, your player props, parlays, whatever you want to do. Very easy. And the paybacks are quick right there. So you want to get started? What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started with FanDuel. Thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Give you a big shout out to you everydayers out there. Thank you for joining us. Share, follow, and like. And don't forget our website, talkbig10.com. So, Big Ten news. Let's start off with Penn State. Obviously, they've been making a lot of news lately. So, Pat Kraft, he's the athletic director there. He's the one who just fired James Franklin. He's the one that's going to pay them off to $49 million. He claims, he talked to the media on Monday, he claims that the firing was not due to a 3-game sample size. Oh, let's see. Oregon, UCLA, and Northwestern. Yeah, it was. I don't believe him on that. But he said he knew Saturday night after the loss to Northwestern that he was going to make a change at head coach. But he wanted to sleep on it. So he woke up on Sunday and made the decision finally. Said it was tough. And he says he wants the best football program in the country. And so he says it wasn't about a 3-game sample. Well, these things don't add up. Maybe he was been thinking about making a change for a while, and he may have. There's been a lot of angst over James Franklin's lack of ability to win big games against top 10 teams. It's all out there, black and white. But very interesting that, this is coming off of making the playoffs last year. But since sometime between making the playoffs last year and this 3-game skid, seems like he's been thinking about it for a while. And anyway, we're all still adjusting to this and James Franklin getting fired at Penn State. One can't help but wonder if Luke Fickell might be next at Wisconsin. Unlike Franklin's $49 million buyout, Fickell's is $25 million. He got shut out by Iowa this week, and he has to face the best defense in the country this week. He takes on number 1 Ohio State. Fickell's just 15-17, go in the middle of year 3. The Badgers are 112th in the country in passing yards per game, 116th in rushing yards per game. And they just have had this problem at quarterback since Luke Fickell got there. And even just this year, Billy Edwards getting hurt, Danny O'Neal benched, Hunter Simmons starting a couple games in a row. Just not working out. They do have a bright spot, though. It's not all doom and gloom. Their run defense is pretty good. It's top 20 in the country at 97.5 yards per game. They got some good linebackers in Christian Allegro, Tackett Curtis, who, by the way, Ohio State recruited hard. Ricardo Hallman, pretty good. Was a couple years ago. What do you have? 7 interceptions. Only has 1 this year. He's due. Yeah, so keep an eye on that situation. Meanwhile, over at Michigan State, former Michigan State corner Trey Waynes has gone public on social media, and he wants the school, to move on from Jonathan Smith. And he says now that James Franklin is available, they should go for him. Michigan State has dropped 3 straight games. They're 3-3. They're 0-3 in the Big Ten, though. Michigan State's been tempted by the shiny light before. Remember when they fired Mel Tucker, they absolutely had interest in Urban Meyer, and they did talk to him. It didn't pan out, didn't really go anywhere, and that's when they decided to bring in Jonathan Smith from Oregon State. The buyout would be $32 million. That's $500,000 every month for 62 months through January 2031. By the way, could get tougher for Michigan State. Next game at third-ranked Indiana. Meanwhile, a story out of the Nebraska-Maryland game. We talked about this game a lot. It was an exciting, back-and-forth, high-scoring game. Now, Nebraska fans are demanding that the NCAA suspend Maryland defensive tackle Cam Rice for going after Dylan Raiola's knees after an interception. And that was a Nebraska's 34-31 win. The play did draw a 15-yard penalty on the return. My opinion, I saw the video. It did not look good for Rice. It didn't. It was awkward. And the Huskers, by the way, are at Minnesota Friday night under the lights. That's right, Friday Night Football. I want to go back to Nebraska here, or stay with Nebraska for a minute and tie it back to Penn State. We've all been thinking it. We discussed it the other day here. Matt Rule played football for Penn State. I have always thought that the Penn State job was kind of like his big job that he had a spot for. I don't know. And then he was given an opportunity to squelch that on Monday, and I don't think he did a great job. Maybe he wants that job. I don't know. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in detail in tomorrow's podcast here on Locked On Big Ten, but I just wanted you to be kind of aware of it. And then finally, did you catch this over the weekend? Of course, the Indiana Hoosiers win in Autzen Stadium and beat Oregon. And, of course, ESPN Game Day was there. Nick Saban was asked, hey, who's the best quarterback in the country? And he started spinning around a few. He said John Mateer, who had been hurt at Oklahoma. And then, by the way, later that afternoon, he threw 3 interceptions against Texas in the shootout. And again, he's coming back from hand surgery. And then he played to the crowd a little bit. Certainly mentioned Dante Moore at Oregon, who's very good. And then Fernando Mendoza at Indiana as well. But then he drew some boos at Eugene and Autzen Stadium with the suggestion that Julian Sayin at Ohio State might be the best quarterback in the country. Now he said, look, the kid's complete 80% of his passes. Nobody else is doing that. That makes him pretty good. Also keep in mind, Saban recruited Sayin to Alabama. Then Saban retired after the kid committed, and he transferred to Ohio State. So there's some ties there. One of his favorites, just throwing it out there. But he has been doing a nice job, Julian Sayin. And part of the reason that the Buckeyes are number 1 in the country. I mean, his defense is doing a great job, and then he's not messing it up. He's doing pretty good. Got a lot of weapons to get the ball to. All right, if you are new to our podcast, we always do features every single day. You can just set your clock by. So Mondays, we do our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. We did that yesterday. If you want to go check them out on yesterday's podcast for a second listen. Tuesdays, we do Tuesday tweets. You can follow us on Twitter at Talk Big Ten or X. And if they're good, I'll put them on. I'm always looking. Then Wednesdays, tomorrow, Big Ten power rankings, 1 through 18. Penn State's going to fall again. UCLA is going to rise again. Indiana's going to rise. We'll have that on tomorrow's podcast for sure. Oregon's going to slip a little bit. All right, so we got that. Thursdays, we look at the Big Ten Network with Big Ten Classics and live action. And Fridays, we go on the record with our pigskin picks. So coming up next, Tuesday tweets. See if one of yours made it. They're all pretty good. That's coming up in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. Let me tell you about game time. I mean, college football, we're in the middle of the season. Can you believe like we're getting to be like half done? Kind of sad in a way. You got to get yourself to a game. You and your friends, you've been watching games. You're excited about it. You want to feel the excitement of the tailgating and being at the game when a winning touchdown is scored. There's nothing like it. You can go get the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, and then you can get tickets to anything. Super easy. Best prices, best seats. Take advantage of it right now. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices. No surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. And by the way, are you aware you can get to a college football game with the Game Time app, buy a ticket for as low as $25? Yeah. So if you're the guy in charge of getting your group tickets, get the $25 tickets or upgrade, whatever you want. It's right there. Plus, you can see the view of the seat of the ticket you're about to buy on your phone or your device before you buy it. Just a couple taps and you're there. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege. I'll spell it for you. LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Tap, swipe, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten. All right, here's the deal. Let's do Tuesday tweets and have some fun with this. We'll see what's out there. And I'll put it on the screen. If you're audio only, like if you're Apple or Spotify, no problem. We'll describe it in detail. It's pictures and captions just from Twitter, X, whatever you prefer. We're all over it. All right, this one is from at Fox College Football. And it is a graphic of the Indiana logo, the Ohio State logo, and the Miami logo. Now, what do these teams have in common? Teams with first place votes in the Week 8 AP poll. Of course, Ohio State, number 1, Miami 2, Indiana, the number 3 team in the country, their highest ranking ever. And they did receive first place votes. That's right. Every one of them did. So who's your number 1 team? There you go. Let's see what else we have here on Tuesday tweets. This is from Dave Portnoy retweeting out from Barstool a picture of James Franklin fired. Penn State has fired James Franklin. This is right when the news broke yesterday. And Portnoy says, I guess losing 3 in a row and being the first team ever to lose twice as 20-point favorites did him in. He says, what an absolute disaster class in a happy valley. That's the thing. I mean, when their AD says, it wasn't this 3-game losing streak. I mean, nobody was happy for the loss to Oregon, but the loss to UCLA and Northwestern when you're 20-point favorites and one of them at home, it was the 3-game losing streak. I don't care what his athletic director says. Here's the same picture again, broken down from at ML Football. And breaking news, James Franklin, making over $20,000 a day from Penn State for the next 6 years. Here's the breakdown of his salary because they got to pay him. And he's going to make $15 per minute for the next 6 years. That's over $900 per hour. That is almost $22,000 per day. That is over $153,000 per week and $666,000 in change per month for the next 6 years. Greatest gig in the world, getting fired as a head football coach. Not wrong. Not wrong. Here's a happy Lincoln Riley in the USC locker room after the win over Michigan. This is from at Trojan Football. Lincoln Riley had these men prepared for battle. Number 15, Michigan did not lead once in the game. Pure domination. And it says, I love my coach. Fight on. They did a great job. This is from at Big Ten Football. Is the list of 5 Big Ten teams in the AP Top 25. As we already mentioned, Ohio State number 1, Indiana 3, Oregon drops to 8, USC 20, and look who's there at number 25. It says, welcome Nebraska, the 25th ranked team in the country. The latest from the AP. Here is a collage of Indiana Hoosier players from at Big Ten football. The number 3 ranking marks Indiana's highest ranking in program history. That's in fact, they they got ranked in the AP top 5 in consecutive seasons because they reached this high last year for the first time in program history, back-to-back years. What is this, a dynasty, Curt Cignetti? Spectacular. Speaking of Curt Cignetti, here it is from at College Football Report. This is an old picture from the early days at Alabama. It's a picture of the sideline. On the right is Nick Saban with the headphones on. Next to him in the middle of the picture, that's Kirby Smart, who is on his staff, currently the head coach at Georgia. And the one on the left with his arms out screaming, that's Curt Cignetti, the head coach of Indiana Hoosiers, who was on the Alabama staff back in the day. I was looking earlier today at the coaching tree for Nick Saban. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. More Curt Cignetti. Here's from Dan Orlovsky at ESPN, former NFL quarterback. He says he isn't lying. Picture of Cignetti. It's quote his quote. It's pretty simple. I win. Google me. That's what he said when he got hired by Indiana. Orlovsky says he's not lying. No, he is not. Here's a shout out to Barstool, Iowa. The Heartland is ours, and it showed them with their 37-0 win over Wisconsin. And here's another note from Barstool, Iowa. It says, well, this is exciting. And it's a retweet from Brad Schultz. Breaking news, the Savannah Bananas, who are all the rage around the country, will play 2 games at Kinnick Stadium there in Iowa in July of 2026. The school announced this week. Banana Ball coming to Iowa City. Our friend Drake Toll from Locked On Big 12 does their play-by-play, by the way. All right, there you have it. Look at our Tuesday tweets. That was fun, as always. Send me a tweet on X, and I'll get it on Tuesday's show. I always have fun looking at those, and if they're interesting, I'll put them on for sure. All right, that'll do it for us. Now, a couple things. Tomorrow, we'll have our power rankings. Tomorrow, we're going to dive into Matt Rule. Is he going to leave Nebraska for Penn State? Would he? Do they want him? I don't know. I'm going to look into it a little bit more. I'll give you my opinion because I'm not afraid of opinion. We do news, analysis, and opinion of everything right here, all things Big Ten. Tell your friends about us. We're here each and every day. Hit that subscribe button as well, and that way you'll never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like as well. A moment ago, I mentioned Drake Toll from Locked On Big 12. He also hosts our college football kickoff show that Locked On does with Fire TV every Thursday, along with 2-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson and college football former star Jesse Holley, and then our Locked On experts come together and preview all the games coming up. So that's every Thursday, Locked On Fire TV. That'll do it for us. Again, thank you for joining us. Spread the word. Tell your friends that we're out here. And I already look forward to our visit tomorrow because we'll be here. Hopefully you will too. I'm Craig Sheeman for Locked On Big Ten.